Srimati Ritu Singh, Assistant General Manager IT, National Capital Region Transport Corporation. Ms. Ritu Singh is a software engineer with more than 14 years of experience in IT software development, specifically in transportation sector. Currently working as Assistant General Manager IT in NCRTC, she is responsible for bringing about digital transformation in the pioneering project of Rapid Rail Transit System in India. Prior to that, she had worked as senior software engineer in CRIS, which is the IT arm of Indian Railways. She has in depth knowledge in cutting edge technologies such as artificial intelligence, data analytics, and machine learning. And over to you, ma'am, for your presentation.
Greetings to all the audience. Hi, thank you for this opportunity. I am today going to cover cutting edge technologies which are prevalent in market and are the need of the hour. And I am basically going to cover blockchain as a technology, Internet of Things, and cloud computing and what exactly these technologies are and how we can leverage them to solve few of the typical problems of railway systems. I am basically going to concentrate on blockchain and Internet of Things because cloud computing, I think, is kind of black backbone to any technological implementation that we plan to do. It directly does not solve any of your use cases, but then cloud if can be leveraged in case you have a resource intensive use case or a use case which is for research and development or also for use cases which have high scalability demands. For such kind of use cases, cloud computing is the way forward. Hence, this forms the backbone to any IT implementation that we look into. So now moving on to blockchain and IoT, I would first like to define what exactly is blockchain. Blockchain technology, if we talk about this, is is basically a concept, very simple concept. Usually, our perception of blockchain is just cryptocurrency, but then it is more to it. It is a simple concept wherein there are history of transactions which are stored in ledger kind of a setup. We store all the transactions as timestamp and group them into a data structure which we call as blocks. These blocks are basically the digital copy of the data which is being updated by a user, say A, and remains in silos until and unless all the parties in the network of users approve that block of data or validates that data. And once the data is validated, it becomes part of the chain, and hence chain of blocks forms the blockchain concept. And if the data is not validated or approved by the users, then it gets discarded. Hence, only validated data enters into your chain, and multiple parties verify the validity of the block before it can be added to the chain, and the predecessor block's information will be included in the next block. Hence, it becomes very much a part of the chain, and any change in the blocks which are already available in the chain is not permitted in the system. Hence, it becomes a permanent kind of information. So blockchain basically works on once written and forgotten kind of a approach, where once the information is entered, it cannot be altered or deleted. So this is the very basic or core concept which defines blockchain technology, and it offers a lot of benefits over the traditional information technology concepts which are already prevalent in the markets. It basically gives you real-time visibility and full transparency, because it is immediately available to all the participants in the group, and hence it gives the visibility which is required. Apart from visibility, it also gives you immunity. So the data once written into the blockchain cannot be altered or deleted. Hence, it becomes a permanent information which is written on your blockchain. Data is consistent, obviously, and it acts as a single source of truth. The user group can also be controlled. So permissions and authorizations are given to users. Only the authorized users will be able to access that information and give their validation for any new changes or any new data which has to be introduced in the system. So it is truthless exchange. So parties can exchange information without need for oversight by a third party. So there is no surveillance required separate from the end users who are using that information. Hence, it removes one layer from the implementation. Users can trust that transactions are executed exactly as protocol commands, reducing a need for trust and counter parity. So it decentralized networks does not have a central point of failure, and hence it because it keeps the data in a distributed manner, it gives you durability and reliability. And obviously it has low cost because one layer of third party transaction monitoring is removed. Hence transaction fee for third party monitoring is essentially avoided in this kind of implementation. Now, once we know the advantages of this implementation, let's come to the use cases, or specifically in transport sector, where we can leverage this technology. So the very first use case which comes to my mind is providing trusted maintenance record, because these systems are very asset intensive kind of systems, and hence maintenance of those assets play a major role in the operation cost as well as effort. Hence having a system which can maintain the integrity of the maintenance records is very much the need of the time. So blockchain solution, it consolidates records of all maintenance activity, and it provides full traceability. So maintenance history of any vehicle or any kind of asset which is there in the system can be traced back to the initial stages of that asset. Hence, it gives you a complete lifetime traceability of those assets. So it basically saves cost, where you would cost and effort, obviously, where and it empowers customers with data to inform purchasing decisions. So it basically consolidates the whole data of ecosystem of data. So it acts as a single version of truth. Disintermediation is obviously the main concept behind blockchain technology, and trusted tempered proof records would be available in case any accident, any failure of those assets happen. Then it is very easy, it is very simple, and it is very transparent in the way that no one has tempered that data. The full traceability of the maintenance history of those assets would be available to the organization. Hence, it is the best use case of blockchain solution that can be implemented. Similarly, the next most critical use case for blockchain would be ticketing. Ticketing systems can use blockchain to record every transaction of a ticket sale or resale, to prove the genuinity of a ticket, and also to minimize the possibility of counterfeit tickets. So it eliminates black marketing, it reduces the overhead to associated with ticket printing, validation, and all those things. Those are inherently available in your blockchain implementation. So it enables additional control on the ticket trading based on the transparent trading history, and also it is straightforward technical implementation. So we can see many of the railway systems who are working on a proof of concept of using this new technology for ticketing, and very soon we are going to see such successful implementations. So this is something which is going to change the world and change how tickets are being sold, for especially for transportation sector. And next is use case which I could think of as employee certification, which is again not very specific for railways as such, but then it is relevant for all kinds of organization. Employee certification is one area where organizations want to have complete visibility, but at the same time, they also want to have a secure system where the information should not be tempered or altered at any given point of time. Hence, it proves to be best use case for blockchain implementation. So use the blockchain ledger to provide visibility into the performance records and training history of employees, and those records would be temper proof and would be available with full traceability. So these are few use cases of blockchain which could be leveraged, and especially in railway organizations, to enhance the efficiency of operations as well as as well as employee management. But then there could be many more such use cases. So these were some references only. There could be many more such use cases where we can think of using blockchain as a technology. But then, having said that, there just like any other technology, it is it is true to say that one technology can't be suitable for every use case. So the main mistake that most of the organizations make is when they try to fit a use case into a technology, whereas it should always be the other way around. Use cases should be identified, brainstormed, discussed, and planned in proper way, and only ones without thinking of about technologies, and only ones that the complete use case is the problem statement is defined by the organization, then they should think of a technology which would fit the best to solve the problem. So similarly, blockchain is not suitable for many of the use cases. It is not the answer to every problem. Use cases where the transacting parties are minimum or just one, those do not qualify for blockchain implementation. Similarly, applications where the transacting parties do not agree or are not supposed to actually share the data or verify the data. For that case also, there's blockchain is not a fit for those use cases. If the key objective of a use case is to data warehouse large volumes of data, blockchain again is not a good fit. And similarly, if centralization is the need of that use case, then blockchain obviously decentralizes your data and distributes it. Hence, that those use cases would also not require blockchain technology to solve them. And there could be many more criteria, but then this is just to point out that while deciding onto a particular technology, one should be very careful as to what are the requirements, what are the needs, and then whether the technology actually fits into the use case or not. Now, after blockchain, I would now like to concentrate on Internet of Things, as this concept has grown over the years, and all of us are very aware of this concept. It is a simple concept where things are embedded with sensors, and those sensors are connected via networks. The data which is being generated through these sensors, be it temperature sensor or pressure or any kind of sensor that is required for those use cases, that data is being ingested into a system which synthesizes it, analyzes it, and then gives out meaningful information out of that data. And based on that information, the organization or the team can take action onto it. So this is a simple cycle where IoT or the Internet of Things actually works on. But then this particular concept is majorly dependent on 6 major layers. Uh, First of all, we need to securely define identity of a thing or an object which we are trying to connect. So defining an identity to uniquely identify your object is very important. But at the same time, it is important that we have proper security so that anyone cannot proxy present that themselves as proxy to the object that we are referring to. Hence, security and identity is the first and the foremost important thing while implementing an IoT stack. After security and identity, next is application and analytics. We should be able to understand the data which is being generated from these sensors and what is the applicability of that data and in the context on which they are working on. Next is IoT backbone or a platform which gives you complete infrastructure and complete setup. Then comes the things which we are trying to monitor or the objects that we are trying to monitor. Those should be connected objects. That means they should have provision to connect to the main platform so that they can exchange the information which is being generated from them. Communication, obviously, since your devices would be on field and you would like that data to come and flow onto your central system or a distributed system, then communication obviously plays major role in that. And on top of it sits your services, your dashboards, your analytics, or your decision-making services, which either automatically takes action or gives you pointers to take action. So these are the 6 major layers of IoT implementation. As we discussed, it is simple sensors which gather data in real time. It sends to a processing unit which infers the data into inside, and then it can be sent to some automated systems to act, or it could be some dashboards which gives you information to act. Hence, the value is delivered to your system. Now, IoT offers a range of opportunities for railways because railways has a vast, any railway system has vast number of touch points or vast number of assets that are being maintained by the system. Apart from those huge quantity of assets that are being maintained, there are linear assets also associated with railways. You have tracks, you have OHEs, you have multiple such assets which are geographically distributed across your alignment. Hence, IoT plays a major role in real-time monitoring those assets. So it gives you some of the use cases which I could think of as improved customer experience. Intelligent lighting is one such example. Enhanced safety. One can work on multiple sensors at your critical points where you want to monitor the safety or any infringement into your system. And also it gives you enhanced efficiency because you can use predictive maintenance and optimize the utilization of your assets by having a model based on the data which is collected from these sensors, and those models can predict in advance, well in advance, whether when exactly is your system going to fail, or so that you can take actions accordingly. So typically in railway systems, there are fixed assets, there are rail equipments, and then there are warehouses and stores which requires, which are the actual points where you require IoT devices. IoT for implementing those sensors, you would need smart IoT tags or sensors, a middleware which should give you an interface so that the IoT device can talk to your IoT gateway. Gateway consolidates the data received from multiple sensors, and through internet connectivity, it or connect or internet connectivity or any kind of connectivity that you want to provide, it connects to cloud big data or any, or if you want to maintain a on-premises big data setup. But big data is inherently becomes a part of it, even though big data concept is much larger than what IoT usually generates. But then this data has to essentially move on to a cloud, on a big data setup, where you should have 2D, 3D visualization capabilities and AI capabilities for predictive kind of use cases. And then after these support engines comes the application, whether you want to do real-time monitoring or you want to do life cycle management, inspection, inventory management, data analytics, reporting, dashboarding to your management. All those applications are at the topmost level. So this is kind of a setup that one should look at while implementing IoT for railway system. So one use case which is very prominent and very efficient while implementing IoT or in rail kind of a system is predictive maintenance. So one need to have a reservoir of your data which is generated from these IoT sensors, and then based on this data, one can have a decision support system based, and this decision support system would require analyzed data from those big data setup that we have set up as part of the system. So it improves the uptime of the system, it lowers the maintenance cost, and obviously it enhances the customer satisfaction, because even before any fault or any failure occurs, the maintenance team is aware of those kind of faults, and they take preventive actions before those critical faults actually take place, hence averting those kind of mishaps or any failures. So as we are talking about IoT in larger picture, it becomes a part of your big data approach. So so there are multiple other sources as well which are available in the ecosystem, which forms part of your big data. So any IoT implementation without big data implementation does not make sense, and hence it is always a good idea to look at what are the sources of data available. For example, even your front desk, your customer transactions, because you have your passenger profile, your AFC data, your footfalls and everything available in customer transactions, your digital consumers, sensors, obviously it gives you IoT data, and then systems, SCADA systems and other subsystems of your railway or metro system gives you very important insights into your system. And as we know, nothing in this world works in silos. Everything is connected. Hence, it is always a good idea to bring every type of data which is being generated from different subsystems or your different initiatives, and bring it onto a single platform and see what are the correlations which are sometimes very interesting to find out, and which cannot be resolved or which cannot be identified by a human being. Hence, the system works in enhancing or the efficiency of your complete setup. So if we now map these technologies onto the key challenges that we face, what are the key challenges in railway or metro systems? One is lack of real-time monitoring of construction progress. While the project is in progress in construction phase, there is lack of visibility in terms of the construction work which is going on, and sometimes that becomes the guiding factor to determine the success of a particular project. Hence, it is very important to have construction progress monitoring in place. Similarly, monitoring of assets and maintenance of assets is also one major area where most of the railways and metro systems face challenges. Then I would also say that these systems generate a lot of data and through various subsystems that are implemented, but then there is no single source of truth which is available. Hence, you can't infer any decision from those data, which is very essential for efficient running of a system. Hence, lack of single source of truth is another challenge that which most of the railways and metro systems face. And then obviously lack of integrated passenger services. So blockchain, IoT, big data, cloud, all these technologies could be used to solve these problem statements and to give an efficient system to implement an efficient railway or metro system. Now that we have talked about these technologies and advancements and the use cases, I would also like to highlight how NCRTC is leveraging technology. Let me first introduce NCRTC. NCRTC is the first regional rail network in India. It is going to be the first system in India which is going to connect the suburbs of the national capital region. There are more than 25 million citizens which reside in these suburbs, and currently there is hardly any good connectivity available for these citizens, and hence there's need for a system which could provide at least minimum 100 km/h transit system for this population. It will not only improve the standard of living of these citizens, but will also improve access for employment, healthcare, education, and leisure, and hence improve the indirect employment opportunities for these citizens. If you also see the population density within NCR is much lower than what is there in this city of Delhi. So to bring about that balance, it is very much important that a good transportation system should be implemented, which should give flexibility for our commuters to reside in any of these suburbs and can on daily basis commute to the central hub, so that the density is evenly distributed across this whole region. So what RRTS offers to our users is that it is a rapid train system which will allow passengers to travel 3 times the average speed of metro. It is going to be a comfortable and high capacity system, and it is designed for a speed of 180 km/h, and the frequency of trains would be somewhere around 5 to 10 minutes apart. And right from the design phase, we are planning to have multimodal integration. So not only on conceptual or digital level, we are planning multimodal integration. It is at the ground level that any kind of interportability or any kind of integrations with these other subsystems like metros, railways, and all are being planned. So apart from these advantages, now let me come back to digital transformation, or how IT is being leveraged in this project. in the planning and execution phase, we are using drones, we are using building information modeling, project monitoring. There are in-house tools which have been developed for, which are tailor-made for linear projects, for project planning and monitoring. And then there are standard industry standard products as well, which are being leveraged. We are using geospatial information systems, GIS. We have implemented a common data environment which works as a single source of truth for all kinds of technical drawings, and it helps in collaborative designing. And we are also using virtual reality studio for 3D visualization. Digital transformation in operations. When it comes to operations, which is going to start very soon, we are planning to have an integrated asset management system, which would comprise of not only the core asset management functions, but also the complementing functions such as finance, HR, payroll, and etc. And also it will be fully integrated with my other subsystems, and data from those subsystems or alarms and alerts from those subsystems would travel onto my centralized asset management system. Now, coming to digital transformation services, as our operations will start somewhere in next year, we are planning to come up with mobility as a service mass implementation. It will basically connect, the commuters to all sorts of options which are available, and it will give a complete suite of features and capabilities into a single app, so that a passenger has to just click on his source and destination, and he can use multimodal capabilities or transportation as a service, or mobility as a service. So these are the initiatives that are being taken up in NCRTC, and I'm sure we would be implementing them in the best possible way. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you.